All right. So, yeah, everyone's always wondering where the best place is to be a UX designer, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this guy, Artiom Dashinsky, wrote this article on Medium called Best Countries for UX Designers in 2025. Salaries, Jobs, and Cost of Living. It tries to answer that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we're going to dive into all that.
Awesome.
He's got all this crazy data from Pave, Numbeo, TrueUp. And
Oh,
yeah, he looked at salaries from almost 24,000 designers and
wow.
cost of living, quality of life, even job postings.
Yeah.
It's like we're going to figure out, should we pack our bags right? Head to a new design hub.
I mean, it's the question on everyone's mind, right? Where should I be? What should I be doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not just about chasing the highest salary though, right?
Right.
Like he factors in taxes,
Yes.
job availability, cost
Yeah.
of living, quality of life.
Yeah, it's a really holistic picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with salaries.
Let's
So the
go.
data is all relative to the U.S.
Okay.
And there's some surprising results.
Oh, yeah.
Switzerland comes in at 88% of U.S. salaries.
Wow.
Australia close behind at 73%.
Interesting.
I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, those definitely caught my eye, too.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people focus on just, the big salary number.
Right.
But Dashinsky reminds us that, taxes.
Oh, taxes.
Yeah, they can really change, how much money you actually take home.
Right. Wow.
So, for example, in the U.S., he found that a designer in Dallas making $114,000
Okay.
might end up taking home basically the same amount as a designer in Portland earning $130,000,
Wow.
just because of the difference in taxes.
That's a huge difference.
It is, yeah.
Who wants to work harder for the same amount of money?
Yeah, exactly.
So, look at the net income, right? Not just the gross.
Yeah, the net.
Did he find that across the board, though?
Yeah, and it's not just limited to the U.S.
Okay.
He looked at the after-tax salaries for, the top 20 highest-paying countries.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, he found some pretty big differences. One country with a slightly lower pre-tax salary might actually end up, better for you financially after you take taxes into account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see there's a lot more to this than meets the eye.
Oh, yeah.
What about, social benefits, the taxes often cover?
Right.
Like healthcare parental leave.
Yeah.
That can make a big difference in your well-being, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really crucial point
Yeah.
that Dashinsky, briefly touches upon.
Okay.
But, we could definitely, dig into it more.
Yeah.
So while the data, includes all the mandatory payments that you have to make to the government,
Right.
the stuff that those payments actually cover, varies a lot between countries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, some places might have, really good health care or, generous parental leave.
Yeah.
While others might have more limited, social safety nets.
So you're saying it's a trade-off.
Yeah.
You might take a slightly lower salary
Yeah.
in a country with better social benefits
Yeah.
if it's what you're looking for.
Exactly, what matters most to you?
Yeah.
Are you, looking for a place with, strong social support, or are you just give me all the money I can get?
Right.
It depends on you, you know?
Yeah.
As the listener, you got to think about what you need, what you value.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a potential salary figure.
Okay.
We know to factor in taxes,
Yeah.
social benefits, but what about job availability?
Right.
A great salary doesn't matter if there are no jobs, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
That's where Dashinsky's use of TrueUp's data is really helpful.
Okay.
So it pulls job postings from all over the place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which gives you a much broader perspective than just looking at one job board.
Right.
And he visually represents this data too.
Oh.
He plots job postings against salary.
Okay.
And that reveals some pretty cool trends.
So are there any countries that offer a good balance of decent salaries and plenty of jobs?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. So some countries have a ton of job postings, but the salaries are kind of low.
Okay.
And then others have fewer jobs, but the pay is really high.
Got it.
So it really just depends what you're looking for.
So many tough choices.
It is, yeah.
I'm starting to feel overwhelmed by all these factors.
I know it's a lot to take in, but Dashinsky gives us a helpful tool to navigate all of this.
Okay.
It's called talent density.
Talent density, what's that?
Yeah, so it's basically looking at how many skilled professionals are in a particular location.
Okay. I'm intrigued. How does that help us?
Well, so think about it. This companies, they want to be where the talent is.
Right, makes sense.
So they're going to go to areas with lots of skilled workers.
Yeah.
Because they know they can find the people they need there.
Yeah.
And that it'll help them innovate and stuff.
So if a country has high talent density in UX design,
Yes.
it's a good indicator that the job market will continue to grow.
Exactly.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and Dashinsky actually created a graph showing talent density versus salary. Okay.
But he excluded the U.S. as an outlier.
Why exclude the U.S.? Isn't that where a lot of UX jobs are?
Well, yeah, that's true. But Dashinsky points out that like most of the data comes from U.S. businesses,
Okay.
which means it's kind of biased towards designers who work for American companies.
So to get like a more accurate picture of global trends,
Right.
we have to take the U.S. out of the equation for a second.
Exactly.
Okay.
And when we do that, some really interesting patterns emerge.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, for instance, some European countries, they have both high salaries and high talent density.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that suggests a really strong and competitive job market.
So I wouldn't want to be like a newbie designer trying to break into that market.
Probably not.
What about like emerging markets, though?
Yes.
Are there countries with like decent talent density but maybe slightly lower salaries?
Right.
Like maybe indicating potential for future growth and opportunity?
That's a great question. And it's something that Dashinsky really encourages us to think about.
He suggests like looking beyond just the top 20 countries with the highest salaries.
Yeah.
And like exploring areas that might become the next big design hubs.
It's all about finding that sweet spot, right?
It is.
Current opportunity and future potential.
Exactly. Some designers might love being in a super competitive environment,
Yeah.
while others might prefer a less saturated market where they can like really make their mark.
Right.
It depends.
Yeah, this is giving me so much to think about.
I know, right?
And we've only just scratched the surface.
He's got so much more to uncover,
Yeah.
like cost of living and quality of life.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so we've talked about salaries and taxes and job availability and even talent density.
Yeah.
But like, let's be real, none of that matters if you can't afford to live there, right?
You're telling me.
Right.
Yeah.
So Dashinsky spends a lot of time talking about cost of living.
Okay.
And his findings are like super interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he found a strong correlation between salaries and expenses.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Like the more you make, the more you spend.
Right. So like countries with higher salaries also tend to have a higher cost of living.
Right. It's like no free lunch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But are there any like exceptions or like weird things?
Well, there are some nuances,
Okay.
like Singapore and Switzerland.
Okay.
They seem really expensive at first,
Yeah.
but when you factor in those low tax rates,
Right.
they might actually become more affordable.
Ah, so it's like the after-tax income really matters here.
Yeah, totally. It's all connected.
Yeah. Did Dashinsky give any like specific examples?
He did.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, so like within the U.S.,
Right, yeah.
he compares San Francisco and Austin.
Okay.
So in San Francisco, a designer might need to make way more money
Right.
just to maintain the same standard of living as someone in Austin,
Yeah.
where everything's cheaper.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I've heard those San Francisco rent prices are insane.
Oh, yeah, they're crazy.
So it's not just about the country, it's about the city.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to do your research.
Yeah, for sure.
And like think about what's important to you, right?
Right. Are you willing to pay more to live in a cool city?
Right.
Or do you want something more affordable, even if it's a little quieter?
Totally. Like trade-offs all over the place.
It really is. Yeah.
But I mean, we're not just looking for a place to like work and survive. Right.
Right.
We want to like thrive.
Yeah.
That's where quality of life comes in.
You got it.
Right.
That's a big one. Yeah.
Okay, so Dashinsky, he uses this quality of life index from Numbeo,
Right.
which looks at like purchasing power housing, affordability, safety, healthcare, traffic pollution, like everything.
It's super comprehensive.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So are there any countries that like do well on all fronts?
Well, remember those top contenders we talked about before?
Yeah.
Based on like salaries and talent density?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those same countries,
Yeah.
they also rank really high for quality of life.
Oh, wow. So like Switzerland, Australia, Canada, Netherlands, Germany,
You got it?
they're like the all-around winners.
Yeah. It seems like they offer a pretty good package.
Okay, let's break it down a little bit.
Okay.
What makes those countries so great in terms of quality of life?
Sure.
Let's start with Switzerland.
Okay. So Switzerland is like super safe and clean.
Okay.
They've got great public transportation.
Yeah.
Beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
Excellent healthcare.
Yeah.
Strong social safety net.
But isn't Switzerland really expensive?
It can be,
Yeah.
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 But remember, those low taxes can help.
Yeah.
And it really depends on your lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you want a high standard of living and you're willing to pay for it, Switzerland could be a good option.
Okay, fair enough. What about Australia?
So Australia has that like laid back lifestyle,
Right.
beautiful beaches, vibrant cities,
Yeah.
good healthcare, good infrastructure,
Okay.
and most people speak English,
Right.
which is a plus for expats.
Yeah. And the weather's amazing.
Oh, yeah, the weather's great.
All right. How about Canada? What's so good about the quality of life there?
Canada is known for being friendly and welcoming. It's got tons of natural beauty,
Yeah.
and they really care about social welfare.
Okay.
So like universal healthcare, affordable education.
Yeah.
And it's generally very safe.
Plus poutine.
Oh, yeah, can't forget the poutine.
Big bonus.
Huge.
Okay.
Netherlands.
Okay, so the Netherlands has a really liberal and progressive society.
Okay.
A lot of people speak English there.
Yeah.
Great work-life balance.
Okay.
Amazing public transportation.
Yeah.
Everyone bikes everywhere.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a very charming and laid-back culture.
I've always pictured Amsterdam as like this super picturesque, bike-friendly city.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay. And last but not least, Germany.
So Germany has a high standard of living.
Okay.
Awesome infrastructure, affordable healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
and they're really big on sustainability.
Yeah.
They've got a rich history and culture,
Yeah.
great food,
Yeah.
and a really strong design community.
Especially in Berlin and Munich.
Yes, exactly.
And don't forget the beer gardens.
Yes, the beer gardens. Legendary.
They are.
Okay, so we've got like 5 countries that seem to do really well across the board.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember this is just like one guy's analysis.
Exactly. It's a starting point.
Right.
There's so much more to consider, and the best place for you is going to depend on, your own situation.
Yeah, totally. So this is where the real work begins.
It is.
Now we got to personalize this information
Right.
and like really explore the possibilities.
Yeah, see what speaks to you.
Dashinsky doesn't just leave us hanging, though.
No, he doesn't.
He gives us this helpful table.
Oh.
Yeah, ranking the top countries based on like everything we've talked about.
It's like a cheat sheet.
I love cheat sheets.
Right.
But it can't be as simple as just picking the country at the top of the list, right?
You're right. It's not that simple.
Yeah.
Dashinsky really stresses that you have to go beyond the data
Yeah.
and think about the stuff that's harder to measure.
Like what?
Well, for starters, visas.
Right.
Some countries make it way harder to get a visa than others. Yeah. So you got to research the requirements.
For sure. What about language barriers?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, if you don't speak the language.
Right. It can be really tough.
Like to find a job to make friends.
Exactly.
To like just live your life.
Right.
So for some people, language skills might be a deal breaker,
Yeah.
but others might be excited to learn a new language.
Right.
It all depends.
It does.
And we can't forget about like cultural differences and support networks. Like
Right.
moving to a new country can be exciting,
Oh, yeah.
but it can also be lonely.
For sure. Especially if you don't know anyone.
Yeah, Dashinsky talks about this too.
He does.
Like the social and emotional side of moving abroad.
Right. That's something you can't really capture in data.
Right. So it's not just about finding a job and a place to live.
Exactly.
It's about finding a place where you can actually thrive.
Yeah. A place where you feel at home.
Yeah. And that's where this deep dive is so helpful.
I hope so.
Yeah. We're taking Dashinsky's research and like adding in all these personal considerations
Right.
to help you figure this all out.
It's like creating a personalized roadmap.
I like that.
Yeah.
Instead of just telling you where to go.
Exactly.
And even within a country, right?
Right.
Like there could be big differences between different cities.
Oh, for sure. Like take the U.S.
Right.
New York City is totally different from a small town in Montana.
Yeah, it's like choosing a country is just the first step,
Yeah, then you got to zoom in.
right? And find your niche.
Exactly.
It's like those Russian nesting dolls.
I love that analogy.
You open one and there's another one inside.
Yeah.
But before we get too lost in the possibilities,
Right.
let's come back to Dashinsky's analysis.
Okay.
He did mention some specific countries that stood out right.
He did. Yeah.
Based on his research, like the countries that consistently did well were Switzerland,
Mhm.
Australia, Canada, Netherlands, and Germany.
Yeah, those are some great options.
They are.
Each with their own unique perks.
Right. But this is just a starting point.
Right now, it's time to take all this information and really make it your own.
So we've got this amazing roadmap, thanks to Dashinsky, and like you said, all this stuff about personalizing it.
Yeah.
But what if like my dream design destination isn't even on the list?
That's the fun part, right? Like, there are so many amazing places out there.
True.
This is just the beginning of your journey, not the end.
Okay, I like that perspective.
Yeah.
But for someone who's like feeling overwhelmed, like where do they even start with this whole personalizing thing?
Okay, so go back to all those factors we talked about,
Yep.
like salaries, taxes, quality of life, all that.
Yeah.
And like rank them in order of what matters most to you.
Okay.
Is it all about the money?
And remember, your dream design destination is out there. Until next time, keep exploring.